Good afternoon. Hope everybody had a nice lunch. Call the meeting to order. Senator Watson, you want to come up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I bring to you a substitute to Senate Bill 59, better known to this body as the Municipal Sovereign Immunity Act. It was language that came out of House Bill 531. We're just putting it in Senate Bill 59 and just providing some liability limits for our municipal governments. Be glad to take any questions if there are any.
Okay. Don't see any questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Okay. Chairman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm asking for House Resolution 885. It's not on the blue sheet that's on the wall over here, but I understand it is eligible. House Resolution 885 asks for a study committee looking at the elections procedures in the state of Georgia.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Scott, what you got?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I was asked to present Senate Bill 185. We have the author of the legislation here, so I'm going to yield to him if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee.
Yes,
Senate Bill 185 is a bill that requires the Georgia Department of Corrections to create a policy that would prohibit the Department of Corrections to use state funding to fund transgender surgery to any person being held in the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Okay. Got a question. What part?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Robertson, is this really a priority for this body?
Well, based on, I did and I think that's for the body to determine. I think that's why we have the process we have. But doing a study committee this past summer on the Georgia Department of Corrections and taking a deep dive into the healthcare costs, believe me, there's many other areas we'll attempt to go to as we go through the process to try to make sure our funding in the Georgia Department of Corrections is spent more efficiently, not only in healthcare, but in operations and other areas, I think, that have led to the issues that we currently have in the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Are you saying that the provision of gender-affirming care when medically necessary is causing our budget to explode with respect to public safety in our prisons?
I'll try to narrow down my answer. I said it's one of the many areas where we have the issues, and I was approached and asked to do this from a policy standpoint, and I figure we need to address every issue within the Georgia Department of Corrections, as we do in other departments throughout the state, to make sure that we're using the taxpayers' dollars in the way that they want us to use those dollars.
That's unfortunate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the chairman and the well, as a result of the study committee on the health costs, or I guess it wasn't just the health costs, the study committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Did the study committee report out or find the amount of money spent on the healthcare procedures that are in lines 68 through 72 of the bill?
Are you and I don't have the bill in front of me, ma'am, but I believe, are you talking about the therapies and other things that are currently being done?
Yeah, how much money has been spent in this year, or any summary of years that y'all looked at, on the procedures that this bill would prohibit?
No, ma'am. I don't have a specific cost. What we did is we went through the RFP process and with the healthcare providers that currently address the RFP and the funding process related to all healthcare issues, and we're discussing different ways. And one of the issues when this subject matter came up was not the issue in particular, but the fact that there was no policy existing that would allow them to opt out from doing these types of procedures with taxpayer dollars.
Do we have any idea if these procedures are even occurring?
What we have right now is, I think, I was given the information that we currently have 5 individuals being housed in the Georgia Department of Corrections that are currently requesting these procedures.
Have any been performed? Any of the procedures ever been performed that the state's paid for?
No, ma'am. I believe that what currently the state is challenging their responsibility for providing these procedures.
Okay. And then one last question. I know you said you don't have the bill in front of you, so I'll read the line.
I've been provided a copy of the bill.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
On line 15, the definition of the term state inmate, it says any inmate in the custody of the department and for whom the department shall be responsible for the payment of medical care. And I was wondering, are there state inmates in the custody of the department for whom the department is not responsible for the payment of medical care?
I think there's some ambiguity to a certain degree that once an individual is sentenced, they may be currently being housed in a county jail or other type of detention system until they're able to be transferred into the prison proper. And I believe that that's who they're addressing right then, because I know we as the state pay a daily fee to the county jail or detaining officer until that individual can be transferred in. So my understanding was that would be applicable to those individuals.
So the state wouldn't be responsible for the care of folks that are in county care? They're not responsible until they come over to the state?
I think it's a billing issue as to if something is, it would be up to the local sheriff or whomever to bill back to the Department of Corrections if they wanted to claim expenses were used for health care that should have been the responsibility of the state.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Senator.
Good afternoon,
to
ma'am.
my friend. So maybe you can help me out with this, because I'm getting a lot of constituent calls about the cost of health care, the unavailability of health care, our high maternal mortality rate, our shortage of teachers, the fact that rent is unaffordable, the fact that families can't afford to buy homes, the fact that child care isn't accessible, the fact that pre-K hasn't been expanded. And we are sitting here spending our time talking about sex change operations in prisons.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell those working families in Georgia, those parents, those teachers, police officer shortages, prison guard shortages, why it is that we would spend our precious time down here charged with fixing big problems for all Georgians across the state, while we're wasting time talking about a problem that doesn't exist?
Well, ma'am, I think we agree that the problem does exist with the fact that we currently have 5 individuals that have reached out, and the Department of Corrections has reached out and explained that they do not have a policy. And I think the statement you made at the beginning is a very clear and honest bipartisan statement, because I think we all get those calls, and I agree with the constituents that give me those calls, whether it's related to this body not putting enough money in to offer a fair enough salary to bring in the Department of Corrections employees that we need in order to make our prisons more safe. I think that is a problem. And all the other things that you mentioned, I do believe those are problems. And there's 180 of us on one side and 56 of us on the other side, and we are all tasked and put ourselves up to attempt to solve those problems. But I think we all, being reasonable men and women, understand that we have to eat an elephant one bite at a time, and that's what we're attempting to do here. And I hope we're able to do it all together. But I do agree with you. I get those same calls.
I appreciate that,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Senator. And you mentioned 5, and would these 5 include 5 folks who are trying to get a sex change operation in prison, or are these 5 folks who just want hormone therapy? Like, do they just want a pill to take? Like, who are these 5
The individuals, the cases that I were given, I was not given the names of the individuals for obvious reasons, but they were wanting, once they had been incarcerated in the Georgia Department of Corrections, they had chosen to enter into the process of transitioning.
Okay, and so that could include just medication. It doesn't necessarily include like a full-blown sex change operation. Is that what you're telling me, or you don't know the actual data?
I will tell you, I'm a law enforcement and public safety professional. I'm certainly not a healthcare professional, and so it would not be fair for me to attempt to describe what the multiple types of transitioning that could be being asked for.
That's fair. Final question, Mr. Chairman. In comparison to the 5 questionable folks who we don't really know that much about, have you considered the number of, let's say, hungry children who we tried to feed over the summer, the number of children who are without health care, the number of families who are struggling to buy eggs and milk. Have you, the number of women who die trying to have babies in this country, the number of babies who die in the process of childbirth, all of which we are at the top of the heap on. Have you considered those numbers in comparison to the ambiguous 5?
Since the age of 22 and my entering in law enforcement, I considered those numbers each and every day, because each and every day on my job, I encountered the individuals that you're talking about. Those that live in poverty, single moms who do not receive proper health care and everything else. And I certainly hope that all of my colleagues in the Senate and all of my colleagues in the House take it as serious as I do, and I hope we continue marching forward to solve all those problems. Thank you.
Okay, Leader Hughley, you had a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to ask regarding the 5 that you mentioned.
Yes, ma'am.
Have there been any lawsuits outstanding, or what has happened specifically to bring us to this point, other than the study? Because, you know, the study had a multitude of concerns regarding the corrections department.
Yes, ma'am. I think there have been court challenges. I have sat down and met with one jurist pertaining to it, but there's a lot of things they cannot discuss openly because of the fact that it is a case. And there was an individual, I think you may recall several months back, I think it was an individual that attempted to or did try to deliver an explosive device into the judicial system, I believe, to the best of my recollection, and the reason being because that individual was involved in a case against the Georgia Department of Corrections pertaining to this very incident. So that is probably the most I know about any of the single individuals, and I believe the last individual has only recently become a part of the population in the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Don't see any more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Chairman Clark, did you have a request? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Any members of the committee? We're going to call on Chairman Jaspers, if you would, to explain Senate Resolution 8 and Senate Resolution 231.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Resolution 8 is our Transportation Committee substitute to Senate Resolution 8. And first off, I've got to thank Abby Day from the House Budget Research and Josh and Abby from GDOT helping us work these through. There are 21 road naming resolutions within SR 8, 19 from the House and 2 from the Senate. You know, so if you take time, it'd be interesting to look and see what all these great Georgians have done and made an impact on Georgia, if you have time to do that. Okay, on 231 is a little bit different. It's a very tragic year for law enforcement, and this is our substitute to this. And we took this bill and put 5 public safety people who have fallen in our state. We put these together. They'll be presented differently than we normally do. The individuals will be represented by the county where they're from. I think it'll be very moving, very good moment for us to honor the lives of these gentlemen.
I don't see any questions. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to ask you to join me and let's set a supplemental calendar for today. Under modified structure, Senate Bill 20.
Move.
Second.
Have a move and a second. Is there any opposition? Have an objection. All those in favor say aye. Aye. He withdraws it. Thanks, sir. We misspoke. Okay. He's just getting ready. There you go. Okay. Senate Bill 132. Moved and seconded. Any opposition? Is that a real objection? Okay, we have an objection. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes carry. Senate Bill 185. Moved and seconded. Any opposition? Have an objection. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Is that objection?
I'll ask for that vote again. All those in favor of aye, 185 say aye. All in favor, all opposed, no. The ayes have it. So, Senate Bill 244. Moved and seconded. Any objections? Have an objection. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Ayes, carry. Senate Bill 259. Moved and seconded. Any objections? It's on. Senate Bill 291. Moved and seconded. Any objections? Have an objection. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. It carries. Senate Resolution 8. Moved and seconded. Any objections? It's on. Senate Resolution 231. Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Okay, that sets our supplemental calendar for today. Thank you very much. We're dismissed.